All right. Hello there. Today we're going to talk about function notation in word problems. So today you can see, okay, we have a word problem. Then it gives us this function. So our equation that we're going to be using is right here. Eventually you'll be writing this equation on your own, but for today it's given for you. So it's a little bit easier. So number one here, Aaron got a new job where he gets paid $35 when he works and $15 for each assignment that he completes. So I'm going to underline for each because that means every time he completes some assignment, he's getting $15. We should be multiplying 15 times x. You can see, okay, they did that. That's good. And then he gets paid this extra $35. So we're adding 35 to the 15x. So it tells us here, okay, x is the number of assignments, f of x. So here we're solving for the amount that Aaron's getting on his paycheck. So part A, it says find f of 4. So that 4 is where the x is in the function notation. So I'm plugging in 4 to the right side of the equation. So then this is equal to f of 4. That's the x value that we're evaluating it at. Okay, so I'll multiply 15 times 4. Should get 60 and then plus 35. All right, so f of 4 is equal to 95. And it says, what does this represent? So now we have to explain in terms of this word problem what we just solved for. So this 4, that's my x, and then 95, that's my f of x. So let's look up here. X is the number of assignments. So for 4 assignments, Aaron's paycheck is $95. So you can see this is my x, f of x. So I'm just using these labels that they already gave us. So I'm going to write that. So for 4 assignments, Aaron's paycheck is $95. So I'm just going to add my dollar sign here to part A, because we know it's $95. So let's just label it. All right, part C and D, it's saying find x. Okay, so we're finding x. That means that I'm solving for this variable on the right side. Okay, so this f of x, the whole left side, is equal to 260. So I'm plugging in 260 for this left side. Okay, so whenever you see find x, that means you're solving for this variable. So I'll subtract 35 and then divide by 15. All right, so we do 225 divided by 15. You should get x is equal to 15. All right, and it says, what does this represent? So we just found x is 15. Okay, so x is number of assignments. For 15 assignments, his paycheck was $260. Since they gave us the 260, we'll say this part first. So if Aaron's paycheck is $260, he did 15 assignments. Okay, so I'll just add my label here then, assignments. All right, so that's number 1. We're going to do number 2 here as well on the front side. Okay, so we have Jimmy is selling lemonade at his block party. It costs him $8 for the ingredients, and then he charges 75 cents per cup. So C is the number of cups of lemonade. P of C, that's our total profit. So his profit can be represented with this function. Okay, so you're going to change this here to P of C, and then this X should be C. Okay, so that was an error. Your letters from your labeling should match your equation. Okay, so I'm going to change this down here as well. So I have P and P of C. All right. Okay, so part A, P of 30. So 30 is where the C is. You look here. Okay, so I'm plugging in 30 for C on this right side here. So I have 0.75 times 30, and then minus 8. Okay, and then I'll equal that to P of 30. That's 30 is the value we're plugging in for X. Okay, so on the right side here, I'm just going to multiply this out, 0.75 times 30 minus 8, so you should get 14.5. And that's equal to P of 30. Remember, P of 30 is just our notation. Instead of Y, we're using that new function notation. Okay, so we have to say, what does this represent? So 30 was my C value. So for 30 cups of lemonade, his total profit is $14.50. So I'm going to write that as a dollar amount. So I'll write that here. So for 30 cups of lemonade, Jimmy's profit is $14.50. So let's add that label here. Oops, sorry. There we go. Okay. Oops, I also need to change this to a C. All right, so then part C, find C when P of C is equal to $19.75. Okay, so we are finding C. That means we are solving for the variable on the right side. Okay, so they give us this whole P of C. The whole profit is $19.75. So I'm going to plug that in for the left side of the equation. Okay, so I'm just going to add 8 over and then divide by 75 cents. Let me scroll up here really quick. All right. Okay, then divide both sides by 0.75. All right, so $27.75 divided by 75 cents. You should get C is 37. So what does this represent? So they gave us this value. So if your total profit was $19.75, that means Jimmy had to sell 37 cups of lemonade. So if Jimmy's profit was $19.75, he sold 37 cups of lemonade. All right, so I'm going to label my answer cups of lemonade. All right, so this is our first time at word problems when they give you your equation. So that's all we're going to do for today.